by Jessica?
This is the father's testimony about what took place.
Is this a situation where you were deceived by...
Now, the mother already said that she's the one that murdered the little boy, right? This is the thing, though. This is she said that she doesn't remember. She doesn't remember her actions. She said that her husband didn't have any part except for the part about putting this baby in the well. Whether he concealed the baby or not, but he's saying at the time that all that happened, he was high as a kite on, I think it was meth or illegal drugs, though. So if he was that high, the way that the baby was concealed and wrapped up and padlocked in and all these metal wires that held the crates together, there's no way somebody's that's high as a kite. No way somebody that is under the influence of illegal drugs can maneuver in that way. I'm sorry. There's no possible way that they could be that meticulous about buttoning up what they were going to put that baby in to conceal the baby. It's not possible. It is not possible. So one of two things, or actually one of three things, could have happened. Besides both of them lying. One is the mother was, and I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt with this one, but I do know that women who go through postpartum depression can actually do stuff like that and forget what they're doing. So I will give her the benefit of the doubt, because in her testimony she claimed that she didn't remember anything. She remembered putting the saran wrap over the baby in the blanket, putting the baby into the crate, but other than that she doesn't remember how meticulous it was that the baby was padlocked in. Like, she doesn't remember any of the padlocking. She doesn't remember the 18 rocks. So I was wrong in the first video. So it was a total of 18 rocks. Now I counted them out, and it did look like there were 18 rocks instead of 21. So 18, 21. The point is, there's definitely a reasoning behind doing those many rocks, right? There's reasoning, whether it's mental illness or not, behind using the 2 crates from a dairy farm called National Dairy, right? There's a lot of things that are very meticulously done in the form of what it's like what serial killers will do. You know what I'm saying? Like the Zodiac Strangler or whatever. Anyways, the point is, it was meticulous. Definite mental illness. Whose mental illness? I don't know. The father's, the mother's, I don't know. I will give her the benefit of the doubt and say possibly she had postpartum depression. Okay. Because it is a thing, and it's not something that's very well talked about. But I tend to believe that even with her having, even if she had postpartum depression, I don't think she could have possibly have been that calculating concerning his putting him in those 2 crates and the things that went in the crates and how the baby was wrapped up. I don't think she could have been that meticulous. So I think there's another component to this. Now, does she have another mental illness? Does she have multiple personality disorder or something like that, right? It's possible. If she had something like that, then it is possible that she did some calculating things and doesn't remember. Like Sybil. Sybil didn't remember. And a lot of people with mental illnesses like that who have multiple personality disorders don't remember what the other personality is doing. So I've heard. But anyways, Listen to this husband.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Yeah, she's still there. Go ahead and ask.
It's very sad. I'm sorry, and he's lying. Let me start.
Throughout the time that
Let me start by saying, in part of the beginning of his testimony, he says that yes, his son gave up his urine, clean urine, but he claims, excuse me, he claims he gave it to a friend who was under the influences of drugs, and the reason why he didn't want to get, because the lawyer asked, why didn't you give your own urine then? And he said because he was smoking marijuana. However, I got a hair in my mouth. However, when the detectives found him and they were looking for the baby, before they found the baby initially, this dude was high as a kite. High as a kite. So it's going to get to the point where the lawyer, her lawyer, is going to ask him, what did you do with the urine that your son gave you? And then he says he puts it in a smaller container. Now, a lot of people know that if they put their urine in a squeeze bottle, right? That they can go in to take these tests and give clean urine, right? This is like a known fact for people who are weed smokers. They'll put it in a bottle, put it between their legs, keep it body temperature warm, because it has to be calculated with body temperature. Keep it body temperature warm, and then they don't, and they can conceal their drug use. This is a very known fact, but let's continue.
Had Dylan in your home throughout the time that Jessica had access to him. Were you, or do you have a belief that you were deceived by Jessica?
Absolutely.
Did you do anything? Did you have any other behaviors? Did you have any other responsibilities in this case other than not reporting his death to authorities?
Other than helping her take him to the well, I had no other part in it.
Did you have any other responsibilities other than help prepare Dylan to put him in those crates?
Can you rephrase the question?
Did you have any other responsibility in his death or hiding from law enforcement other than not reporting his death, preparing him to be put in those crates, and ultimately placing him in the well?
No, I had no other involvement in it.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Mr. Stratton, do you wish to cross-examine?
Just a couple questions, Your Honor. Mr. Groves, how long have you and Jessica been together?
Approximately 24 years.
24 years. And of those years, how long have you been married?
Over 20.
Over 20. In any time over those 20 years, was there a point in which you have seen terrible behavior out of Jessica Groves?
Terrible
as
as
here
in,
recently.
terrible as in,
Did she ever harm your oldest child?
absolutely not.
No indication from him?
No.
Okay. So, you were together for this entire period of time and come to understand how she interacts with the child.
Correct.
Okay. Is it a surprise to you that this happened?
Absolutely. To say the least.
And once again, he died on March 28th, correct?
He died March 28th after the CPS worker left.
No further questions, Your Honor.
State may cross-examine.
Thank you, Your Honor.
this shit's really sad. I'm gonna be honest. May the divine creator protect that child's spirit and let that child be placed into a womb that can really nurture him and his growth and his future body.
Mr. Groves,
Yes, sir.
isn't it true that you promised Children's Services Board that you were employed?
Yes, I did.
Isn't it true that you indicated to the Children's Services Board you worked at Rural King?
Yes, it was.
Isn't it true you led Children's Services to believe?
The grounds is they're establishing his lying pattern.
Isn't it true that you led Children's Services to believe you were still employed at Rural King?
Yes, it was.
Isn't it true that you promised Children's Services that you didn't have drug problem?
Yes, it was.
Isn't it true that you didn't mention to Children's Services any marijuana?
I did not.
Isn't it true that you were, for a period of months before and after you had the baby in your home, collecting urine from your son, Daniel?
Before, yes.
So when Daniel says before and after, he is lying.
I do not recall giving him or asking him for any urine after Dylan's birth.
You heard him testify here yesterday, correct?
I heard him do that, but I think he was mistaken on dates.
So you're saying suddenly you don't recall this from yesterday. You don't recall giving it to him after, getting it from him after.
No.
Well, explain the process where you got it from.
I would ask him to put urine into a cup, and I would put it into another bottle.
Smaller one.
Mm-hmm.
Easier to conceal.
Mm-hmm.
Easier to keep warm.
Sir, you need to answer yes or no, please.
Easier to keep warm. I have no idea about that.
You have no idea.
Yes, you do.
We had a good buddy that had a good idea. Did he tell you how to do that? Is that what happened there?
He never told me how he did it.
Never told you how? You just knew.
Come on. All drug addicts know this routine. Come on now. That's why it's really necessary, if they're really wanting to have the truth, then they need to have an appointed person, security or whatever from the court, or whoever is drawing or collecting the urine. They need to urinate right in front of the official. Like, that's just point blank, period. You don't allow that person to go into a bathroom and do that. Come on. This is, I mean, especially when you're dealing with the safety of a child.
Put it in some kind of smaller cup for concealment.
Well, the cup that I had him collected in did not have a lid or nothing on it.
Okay, so then the other cup had a lid.
Mm-hmm.
It was smaller
Yes.
for concealment.
I don't know for concealment. I just know it was smaller to give it to my friend.
And it's your testimony that you were fearful that you were going to test positive for marijuana.
Yes, because I was unaware of how long it stayed in my system.
Okay. And so then you tested at Children's Services, correct?
Yes.
You tested clean.
Yes.
But then you still had Dylan give you urine.
Daniel?
Daniel give you urine.
After Dylan was born?
Yes.
No.
No. So Daniel's totally mistaken about that.
I think he's just misunderstood, yes.
So you think he misunderstands when his dad comes up to him and says, pee in a cup for me.
On dates?
Now, I listened to the brother's statements, and the brother was 14 years old when this took place. I think 13 or 14. And he stated before the court that he saw the bruising on his baby, the first initial bruising on his head, and swelling on the baby's head. So the prior injuries of child abuse that the baby sustained, the brother, who was preteen, or like 13, 14, right, testified that the baby did have bruising on his head and he had swelling. But the father says he never saw it, and the mother claims there's no way he saw it. And the same man claims he didn't know his wife was pregnant. She was 5 months pregnant, which is possible. However, he said he thought she just was gaining weight. But they never got medical care for the baby because she was on drugs. She was on drugs the whole time that she was pregnant with this baby. Okay, let me continue.
Yes, I do. He's been through a lot in the last year.
He sure has. I'll withdraw the commentary, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. King.
Apologize to the court.
Objection sustained.
So these nurses at the hospital, you heard their testimony the other day.
Yes,
You heard their experience.
yes,
You heard the drug epidemic that they're battling on a daily basis at Southern Ohio Medical Center.
yes,
You're saying all those nurses, that nurse that said she saw you high later in that day, was wrong.
yes, she was.
She was wrong or lying.
Yes.
One or the other, right?
I don't think she was lying. I think she was just mistaken.
She was mistaken.
Everybody's not right all the time, are they?
Says every drug addict. God damn. Oh my God. Every drug addict will tell everybody who knows they're high as a fucking kite. Oh, you don't see what you see. There can be 50 people in a room and they can all know this person is high as a fucking kite, but they're all wrong and the lie continues from the drug addict. Let's continue.
No, they're not.
Absolutely.
But I'll ask the questions. All right?
Sorry.
So they were wrong.
They was mistaken on me. Yes, they was.
And Dylan, or not Dylan, and Daniel was mistaken.
Just by a date.
So you're denying leaving the hospital to get high at that point.
I did not leave the hospital and get high in that.
They were also wrong about your relating to them that she hadn't been going to prenatal care. You were aware she hadn't been going to prenatal care because she was too high to go.
I was not aware that.
Objection. I would ask that he would clarify who the they was, because I do not believe that that was medical staff. If he's still indicating medical staff, that was...
Don't argue your objection.
Sorry.
Overruled.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, founder and CEO.
Damn. Hold on. Freaking hate these commercials. They F up the whole thing. Anyways, so everybody's a liar or everybody is mistaken, says the drug addict. It's amazing. It's actually pitiful. Like, there's really no remorse. There's no remorse for the sake of this baby. And the only tears that the mother cried is for herself, because she didn't cry when they were interrogating her. And when the lawyer asked her, why are you crying now? You didn't cry then. She says, because I never got a chance to grieve my child. However, if she was really grieving her child, then she would be crying through the whole trial. She would be grieving through the whole trial, because there's not just certain portions where she's gonna be grieving. She has given glares to the foster mother, to the coroner, the autopsy MD, to the investigator. She has given really nasty looks to all of these women. So if she was really grieving, she wouldn't take time out to do those kind of things. I'm just saying. This is the longest commercial ever. My goodness. There comes another commercial. But anyways, so he's testifying, and of course the drug addict is claiming that everybody is mistaken but them. No accountability. Like, even after he's sober now, there's no accountability. There's no accountability from his wife. I'm going to upload this and start all over because there's just way too many commercials. Oh, here we go. Wait a minute.
Went to prenatal care because she was too hot.
I did to CPS workers after the fact that I found out.
So you never told that to anyone else?
No.
And you've never phrased that in a way. You're saying they misinterpreted what you said.
Misinterpreted what I said about what?
Because you had knowledge that she wasn't going to prenatal care because she was high.
Because I was told that by her.
But when they
He's
testified
protecting
here,
her, not her, not his
you
baby.
had knowledge in their impression, correct?
The nurses?
Nurses, CPS workers, whoever else you told.
Yes.
Let me just say this. So he knew she was getting high the whole time she was pregnant. If he knew she was getting high and he was really about protecting the baby, which he was not, clearly, then he would have had her admitted, and he would have made them keep her clean for the rest of the pregnancy for the sake of the baby. He didn't do that. I'm going to upload this.